Without further ado, let's please welcome to the show America's accountant, Dan Geltrude. Dan, thanks for coming on. Both of those plans have costs. I know everybody wants it to be easy one way or the other, but we've got some hurdles in front of us, don't we?
We certainly do. So if we're going to talk about tax cuts, Scott, the first thing that we have to address here is the assumption that the Republicans will control both houses, because if that doesn't happen, we are not going to see tax cuts, or we're going to see very, very little movement related to the tax code. So that aside, everything I'm going to say is based on the assumption that the Republicans have complete control of the three houses of government. So Trump is looking for, I'm going to call it the Super Bowl of tax cuts, right? He wants to take tax cuts to a whole new level. And the first step that he needs to take is he needs to get those 2017 tax cuts either extended or, better yet, made permanent, right? That's the first thing, because after 2025, Scott, if nothing happens, we revert back to what it was prior to 2017. So that's got to happen. So what's Trump talking about? Trump is talking about no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. He's also talking about lifting that $10,000 tax deduction limit, right, on salt, which was a really big thorn in a lot of people's sides, right, particularly in the Northeast, where I am.
Right. Well, it's just so the viewers know, state and local, right? That's what you're talking about. State
and local taxes, yeah. Right? Your real estate taxes, your income taxes paid to states. Now, here's the thing, Scott, is that if Trump gets everything he wants, right, here's the problem. Those tax cuts are going to cost $11 trillion. $11 trillion. And our debt ratio will actually hit 150% of GDP in 2034. So the only way to avoid financial disaster here in what he wants to do, and by the way, I'm for it, we have to cut government spending, and it has to be material. If we can do that, we can actually pull this off.
Yeah, well, there's going to be some, and it'll be uncomfortable at first, for sure, because you're going to get some negative. The negative news will be up front loaded because of the money not coming in, and they're going to have to slowly but surely start to trim the government. And just so everybody knows, I'm sure you would agree with this, but a large part of what happens with inflation is the amount of money in the system. The measurement of that is called the M2, the money supply. And Trump's idea is to give you more of your money back so you can spend it the way you like and stimulate the economy that way. The left wanted to spend government money, or our money that the government's taken, to boost GDP, right? But if you think about it, if we bring in tax revenue, I don't know, $4.8 trillion a year, is that about right? I don't know what the number is exactly. Yeah. But we've been spending roughly $1.8 to $2 trillion more than we bring in. That's dumping $1.8 to $2 trillion into the economy annually. It's going to be pretty hard to have a negative GDP. So you might, on the face of things, say we're doing okay because GDP is positive, 2.3, 2.8, whatever it may be. But it's only in the back of the fact that we've been spending so much money.
That's very true. And you know how our viewers have to look at this? It comes down to this. You could say, hey, listen, I'm doing great. I have everything I want. I'm spending. But think of it as you're spending on your credit card more than what you're bringing in. So, yeah, everything on the surface looks great because, you have all this nice stuff and everything seems rosy. In the meantime, your debt continues to grow. And we don't know the timeline, Scott, as to when this thing explodes. What we do know is that we cannot keep doing this, and there has to be an answer. And there is absolutely no way we can get our national debt under control without cutting spending. Yep. And I'll tell you why. Even if taxes go up and the government were to collect more tax revenue under that model, they just spend more. So yep. we never get out of the hole.
So we've got maybe a chance with Elon Musk. He cut 80% of the people at Twitter. There's 400 government agencies that he's going to be able to look at, and he thinks he can cut $2 trillion. What do you think the chances are there?
Well, I think he can do it. Will he be allowed to do it? Will he be permitted to do it? Will there be litigation? I don't know what will happen there. But if you ask me, can Elon Musk make the federal government efficient? Absolutely. Let him loose. Let's see what he can do. I'm all for that.
Can you imagine if there was legislation? No, you're not allowed to make us better so we can survive. We'd rather just die on the vine. I mean, I wouldn't surprise me if there was. But, you know, because everybody thinks that they're entitled to some sort of government handout when it comes to these agencies spending not their money. They're not little government. They're not little businesses that make money. They're just a distribution center of our money. All right. Great talk. Perfect person to have that with. Thank you very much, Dan. Dan Geltrude coming to us from Nutley, New Jersey. Now let's take a look at these markets.